Or another way to think about it is these are some of the great national labs, Argonne, LBL, or Oak Ridge, LBL, Argonne. You have many billion-dollar places that struggle to connect to the communities around them. This is President Obama visiting one of a network of fab labs in the Midwest. You can think of these as a national lab. Instead of a national lab being one place, it's a networked set of local labs. And in fact, I ran an interagency meeting in DC with all of these agencies that agreed to launch a national fab lab network, which is part of our nation's infrastructure. Community labs all over the country, linked, integrated in the community, but linked nationally as part of our national infrastructure. Or maybe most relevant to this group, last week I was in Manchester launching a network of UK labs. And at one point, Manchester, England, had 3/4 of the world's mills. And it's been all downhill since. They have a good football team now, but miss kind of everything afterwards. And this is the Fab Lab in Manchester that's flourishing. And what they're trying to do is lead a new industrial revolution. This industrial revolution was defined by ownership of the means of production. In this one, the means of production are no longer scarce. Those are community resources. Value is defined by how you use the tools, the content, the value you add, not owning a scarce resource. There's a good cautionary tale for that in this picture. DEC was bankrupt. It was bought by Compaq. Then Compaq was bought by HP. The reason HP could do that was in HP, in the printer division, high throughput printers ruled. There was a pecking order based on how fast your printer was internally. And so there were these printers that costed $10,000 and did hundreds of thousands of pages a second. Then there was a group that said, what if we could make beautiful pages slowly, but at low cost? And that was such a weird thought, they had to escape California. They went to Corvallis, Oregon to hide from their managers. The only reason the printer division is in Corvallis was to hide. And so they started the inkjet division. And if you look, the $30 inkjet printer divided by the number of pages, the ratio of dollars to pages is the same for both of these. But this is the economic engine that let HP succeed. If you watch them making these, it's the closest I've seen to corporate counterfeiting. The cartridges come along and then maybe $1 each to make, and they sell them for $30. And it's because they're doing high rate printing, but not by doing it all in one place and doing it all over and over again. They're doing high rate printing by doing a lot of low rate printing. So it's a mistake to look at this and say, this is nice, you can make the prototype and then produce it. If everything you make is going to be different, the prototype is the product, and a lot of low rate production equal high rate production. It's not as fast. So a printer like this is good if you want to print the same thing over and over again. But by definition, the things you make over and over again are the least interesting things. The things that add the most value, the most meaningful, that are most expressive, change for everyone. And so a lot of low-rate production is high-rate production. And so looking at this meeting, I think there's two really interesting lessons for what all of this means for you. One is you don't get anymore to say a model is what it looks like. If 8-year-old Ghanaian girls in Sakandi Takoradi are doing surface mount rework and writing microcode, and students in a class are making integrated functional systems like screen bodies or defensive dresses or parrot browsers, you don't get to say, I make a shape. Model means model. Model means code and circuits and program, and it's no longer segregated by different job descriptions. So you still get to be model makers, but you don't get to narrowly define, well, I'm a model maker and I make shapes. Modeling really means function in this world. And whether or not you make that decision, the world's making that decision and zooming ahead. But having made that decision, the bigger implication is the model is the product. So look at music or software. Music was owned by the labels, or you could play the piano. Napster had a brief spike of yippee, it's free, nobody pays anybody for anything. And what we've settled with now is markets of 1, 10, 100, 1,000, a million. There's still the labels, but there's this whole ecology of music markets that didn't exist. Same thing in software. Software was owned by IBM or Microsoft. With Linux, there was a brief spike of yippee free, nobody pays anybody for anything. And again, we've settled with this ecology of markets of 1, 10, 100,000, million, all of these ranges of markets that weren't viable. So in the same sense, mass manufacture will still exist, but mass manufacture means making stuff that everybody wants that's the same, and that's fine, but that's nuts and bolts. But there's going to be all these ranges of small-scale production, but it's high volume because you do it all around the world, and the business models are based on shipping content very, very close to the evolution of music and software. And so I close by arguing that this is the right group, but it's the wrong name. And so rather than the Association of Professional Model Makers, I think you're just really the Association of Professional Makers. Drop the model, the prototype is the product, and the world needs you. Thank you.